gel ink pen, and then I drew a couple more lines in it. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here coloring on my rug. But I did it because I needed to set up my studio monitors. I needed to set them up so that I could actually listen while I'm making music and it's actually monitoring properly. So I needed to measure it to make sure that they were equidistant and blah, 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 blah. So I was like, I need a point to mark so I know where I'm supposed to sit, because it's not set up. It's not set
so
up.
You used a fucking marker?
Yeah, it's not set up how you're really supposed to set it up. But I'm working with what I got, so I'm like, whatever, screw it. Who cares? Nobody's gonna really see this. I plan on getting a new rug by the time I.
So it's just a rug. It's not a carpet.
Yeah, it's my rug. Yeah, it's my rug.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you thought I was thinking
carpet? Like the goddamn the house carpet.
Oh yeah,
Holy
nah.
fuck.
But yeah, so I set it on my rug so that way I can all right, so this is where I'm supposed to sit. Cause when you edit music, it's best to set levels on a monitor. So I need to have my monitor set up accurately so I can just set the levels, and then I'll just do the mixing on headphones.
Yeah. That sounds pretty smart.
Yep.
That wouldn't be too bad.
How far in are we now?
A little bit. I mostly started it up just so I can monitor like how loud you guys were being at normal talking. See how far away you guys are from the mic versus like how loud it could get. I don't know how I'm doing it. Am I? It looks like I'm being a little.
You're a little loud, but you're good. Oh shoot!
I'm gonna do something like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I feel like chilling right here at this spot.
All right. Yep. All right, here we go. What you got?
The intro. I got the intro.
So,
Two drinks in. Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Something like that.
What if we make a 2 drinks in fucking beat? A song for it.
Yeah.
Theme song.
Yeah, what you were talking about earlier.
Song.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would that work though? To run the beat? Well, I guess you could just export it and then run it into.
I feel like that would want to have like a live vibe, like it was
instrumental
with like a live, like what kind of like there's people like in the background. I feel like that's the kind of thing, and you'd have like a clink.
Yeah.
You know, like a clink at some
like
point because it's 2 drinks in.
Like a jazz band going on.
I feel like that's gotta
bar.
happen. That's the kind of, I don't know, that's kind of how I would see it.
That should be pretty nice. Some dudes playing blues guitar.
Well, the closest we could get to that is
we don't gotta
plug
do
in
a video.
bass or something, and we could play some music.
Well, I don't necessarily mean like the instrumental is like live,
but the vibe of the song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what
so
I
mean. We get some like splice loops of like a crowd audience or something.
Or like it sounds like it's at a party, like because we're all fucking just
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Doing a thing and like there's like a ho, type of thing with a clink. Woo. Yeah, something
Ric
like
Flair.
that.
Yeah.
That could work.
That'd be pretty good. And like the it's not like a party. It's more so just like a casual get together.
Yeah.
Of some sorts where people are just like drinking and like chilling in the same place.
Basically.
Where a community can thrive.
Basically, yeah. Is that the tagline?
Yeah, we're gonna put that.
Like you know the song Red Solo Cup.
I fill you up.
Yes.
Okay.
You know that one?
That's barely.
Toby Keith, who died February 4th or 5th of this year. Classic all-time legend. But like Red Solo Cup kind of vibe. Like where he's singing the song like from the setting of like a lively atmosphere. It's kind of like what I'm thinking.
I see it. I'm thinking, I was just thinking about the music. We could already have like music that we made or we produced.
Yeah.
And we could just, like you said, like export it or something and then stem it, play it live, play back or something like that. I don't know. You figure it out.
I do like the idea of like a rotating each week is a new different thing.
Yeah. Because we're like, we're making the music. So it could be like a kind of way to update. Like, this is something new. Because then before, right quick, I was gonna say, especially for some of the songs, it could be like, because like you were saying, we freestyle or something, we do something stupid. But if we actually made a real song out of it, it's like, if you like that beat, we actually made a song to it. Check it out.
Like a 15-20 second, like at the start, and then like we go into it right after.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like 15 to 20 seconds, you can like whip together like a whole project, but like have like parts of it that aren't entirely finished up.
Right.
But you'll at least have like a 15 to 20 second thing that you're like, this is the vibe of the song and
Right.
the idea that I want to show off to people.
Yeah.
I always find like most of my songs have one core part, and it's mostly the chorus where all of my splice loops are overlapping. And
all of my splice.
yeah, and there's no like weird bits in between it, so I'm like, yeah, that's the perfect part. That's
That makes
right
sense.
where we, and it's like I can loop it for 15, 20 seconds, but maybe a little of an intro right before then. But there's always a little bit of that project, that piece of the project
That
in
you
there.
can
What I'm
Yeah.
wondering about is like, if it's an intro, do you want like a full-on anime fucking full song,
No.
or are you thinking like the intro is kind of like a text, you know, kind of like with the 2 drinks in, some kind of like cool font or something, like with a little bit of artistry about it, and then there's kind of like a snippet of the song, but it's the same snippet we use for the intro. It sort of is, you know. There's kind of
Yeah,
like, I feel like there's more
relatively.
bumping going on, and then at the end you have kind of like a continuation of like a longer like snippet of the song.
Yes.
But like
Because-
there's an actual full song behind it.
Yeah, because then especially that leaves the people that really want to hear it because
Is that for a
people
YouTube
don't.
video? Are we like a YouTube video thing?
No, just audio in general.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just out in general.
Like there's a
But yeah, you want
and it has like the, you know, the intro, and then like you show the full song on the end where it continues like the
I would argue. You turn me down a little bit. I realize I'm loud. I would argue to. I lost my train of thought.
choo choo.
But nah, I would say, dang it, I forgot it. It was important to.
Isn't that a bitch when
Some-
that
Oh no,
Yeah, thing.
I would
There it
argue
is.
to keep the intro shorter because
Yeah.
we don't have any. Our attention spans are gone.
Yeah, so like you have to have that audience retention. If you have like a fucking
yeah.
anime intro and it's like 2
Every
minutes
time,
long,
yeah.
you're like, oh my god, it's like an ad when you skip an ad. When you listen to Joe Rogan and start talking about his fucking like his protein socks or whatever the fuck. It's like it's like
Yeah.
if it's on Spotify, you just skip through it because you can.
Especially if it's about
Because you
2 or
can.
3 minutes, like long, you know, like at that point it gets
Yeah.
to like oh my god, like 60 seconds is long enough. But
And-
if you
Yeah.
get it 2 minutes, and that's, oh my god, that's a long
Yeah.
time to sit down and listen. It's like you're just
Them-
tuning in.
I mean,
like
he
you
really
said,
does
anime
sell some
pieces of
shit though.
media.
Like it kind of like some of that shit he talks about is like, wow, okay, that kinda
okay to-
seems- that kind of appeals to me. Like,
It's okay
really
to have
selling
like a
it.
full version, but you know how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air first episode they aired the full song.
Yep.
as
And
the
then
intro.
from then there they cut it short.
They
Exactly.
cut it short. Yeah,
You introduce
do
it to
a
them the
thing like
first
that.
time. Yeah, you introduce it to them the first time so they can see like, yeah, this is the whole everything, boom. And now it's like with music. That's why a lot of music, pop songs, like No One Should What I Did, the Jonas Brothers do it a lot. The first verse is a full-fledged verse, then it gets the chorus. The second verse is usually a lot shorter because it's like you get the idea, like blah blah blah. Let's get back to the chorus. The chorus is where all the magic happens. So yeah, it's like the first time you show off everything, then the second time from then on you cut it.
Yeah,
You know, makes sense. I think.
you,
I don't know.
kind of
Does it
help to
make sense?
visualize what you're going for there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess would this be something we do this time, or is this something like we're kind of just planning out like the next step? Because we're kind of
I
already
would say
here.
planning out. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean we've already
We got
done the intro.
the
We've already
brainstorming.
done the intro. This point.
Yeah, this is the brainstorm.
We're cooking up
Yeah.
a brainstorm,
This is the brainstorming podcast.
and we're cooking.
This is the brainstorming podcast.
No, we should toss around like ideas for the podcast.
We're
as
making
well as-
ideas right now. That's
we're
like
making
that.
ideas. We're generating
yeah.
new, different types of ideas.
Jordan's laughing. He's laughing at something. Yeah.
I don't
He's
know
getting
why,
hydrated over
but
there.
I was thinking about. I was like, what if we just had like 20 seconds of silence in the podcast, and you just don't cut it. It doesn't make any sense, but
Like
I don't know why it was making me laugh.
Yeah, everybody have a breath holding contest, right?
Yeah.
Seiko?
That just like I feel like I would interpret that as like, oh, they forgot to cut that.
Yeah, they'd be like, "What the?" But
They-
no,
be like,
but
damn,
then
that's kinda
it'd
like
be
unprofessional.
But no,
That's
but
what I would
then
think.
It'd be like the first thing we would say after the silence would be something related to the silence. It's like you were just sitting here in silence.
But I feel like 20 seconds. That's one thing. I feel like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was saying make it like awkwardly long, where it's
Yeah.
like they think it's like an error, But then it's like
they go to like check their okay. Now I'm appealing more to the 20 seconds because like I feel like they're gonna check their device and be like,
because they're like what's going on, and then it's like, and we're just sitting here. It's like, oh, what?
That's happened a couple times, but my video player is actually paused. And you go to check it, and you're like, "This must be part of the podcast." And I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for it to like actually start up again. Especially whenever they do the fade to black right before the actual like transition into it. So it'll be tripping me out whenever it fades to black. My video player stops, and then I wait for it to fade again. Why are you pausing me?
Yeah, why are you yelling pause? Oh, you're just yelling pause. Yeah, pause because he said pause.
Oh, okay. So check this out.
Pause now.
So,
okay, we can't do the 20-second thing. Apparently,
I mean, we'll do it can. I didn't know. I didn't know we were. Well, I didn't know we were going to stop it in the middle of talking.
That would have been the perfect time, though.
Yeah,
that's when you pause for that dramatic. Thing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's too expected, though. It's too expected.
Is it?
I guess not.
Like, if I was talking, then
that was a good time. That definitely was a good time to do it. It definitely was a good time to do it, but it's got to be more random, you know. And we're like full on conversation.
Like, it's crazy that alpaca have like wings.
Oh, so you immediately start trying to lead yourself into a conversation so we can immediately do the pause. You know, kind of let it breathe for a second.
You got me figured out, boss. By God. Yeah, drink your fucking water. Stay hydrated, pal. Go ahead. Get healthy in this bitch. Recycle those fucking blood cells or whatever.
I mean, you got to.
Send it straight to the kidney, by God.
I'm old, bro. I'm old.
Really?
Yeah.
Grow the fuck up, pal.
Would you say you're an old head?
I wouldn't say I'm an old head yet. Not yet. I don't think I'm quite there yet. But think about that, though, honestly. Being an old head, like when we reach that point, what are... Like, are we going to be old heads about our music? Like, yeah, Lil Uzi, you guys don't know real music. Yeah,
I'm not going to be like that again.
I mean, I'm
like, I remember like in Mr. Willoughby's class, in our history teacher at one point, at whatever random school we went to, you know, in fucking Canada or whatever, and like
Kansas.
Okay, I said Canada, but okay, pal. I guess you have a different memory than me. But, you know, one time I was like, by God, the 80s music? By God, I'm telling you. And he was just like, no, 80s music sucked. That was the worst era of music. I'm like... and this man said he was born in, like, the late 60s.
Oh, late 60s.
So it's like...
Let's not get too more specific.
So that, yeah, any more than that. But that's like when you're supposed to be like bebopping to music in your era, because I would have made him like fucking in his like mid-20s.
So he must have been clinging on to like his music from childhood. Then, I'm assuming the 70s.
Maybe I could. Yeah,
that's what I'm assuming.
That is right. Yeah.
So what happened in his 20s that made him hate it? So
I don't know. I feel like
just nostalgia.
I haven't identified with a lot of music, and I feel like now that I'm a little bit older, I feel like I like music that I didn't like when I was like a very young kid.
Yeah.
But like something about like more modern music, like there's few and far between like I can really like get into, like, and I mean like modern in terms of like what's being played on. I don't know why it's still the trope, but like what's being played on the radio. Like, why are those considered like the popular but it's not? But nobody listens to fucking radio anymore. Yeah. So it's like, why is that still the perception we have? Mm-hmm. You know, of these different. It's just whoever is biggest on the charts, maybe to download. I don't.
Yeah, Spotify streams as well as the Billboard Hot 100, like all that together determines what gets played on the radio.
I just feel like most of like the top shit. I just don't.
It's not.
It's terrible.
It's not good.
I still listen to the music that I've always listened to. So it hasn't really changed. I mean, so I still listen to modern and old. I still find old music today that I listen to. Because, I don't know, to me especially, like, obviously I like the modern crisp sound, but there's something about, like, vintage microphones, like ribbon microphones.
Yeah, the old analog recording equipment that has something that about crackle to it.
Yeah, the crackle, the kind of muffled,
the electric sound.
Yeah, it's just something about it that's really pleasing. I really want to get one of those kind of microphones one day. Record some really old style music. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of always fixate on music when I find something that I like. So that kind of leads to me not really being caught up on modern music. And then you throw in the fact that I also make music. Yeah, I lost track of modern music when I got to college, and I haven't really caught up since. I listened to J. Cole's one album that he dropped in 2021, 2022. Yeah, I just listened to that like earlier this year, or the end of last year, I think. I don't know.
But there's some artists I bet like that are modern in terms of like they're recent, but they're not like the popular shit. Like you have artists like that, or just like something. There's something special about them. They just don't appeal to the mainstream, I guess. But maybe that's what is special about it to you, is that it appeals to you, like very specifically, versus like the mainstream may not be vibing the same way that you vibe.
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
It is interesting.
Do you guys on streaming platforms listen to full albums, or do you only do that for analog mediums like vinyl and CDs and stuff? Because that CDs and analog is the only time that I listen to a full album.
Yeah, because, and it makes sense because I mean, you can just stream stuff. So if I bought the vinyl, I'm a lot more likely to listen to the whole thing because I paid for this whole CD. And
so you got to listen to the full vibe of it.
Yeah, but I feel like rarely do I ever listen to the whole album. It's just because 9 times out of 10, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, a lot of artists, what I've learned, a lot of artists, they just write songs and write songs and write songs and write songs and just record songs. And so I feel like a lot of times they really only have like the 2 or 3 really good songs, and then the rest of the songs are kind of just filler whatever crap that they've made.
Kinda. Like I feel like some people fucking like make a masterpiece.
And that's like what I go for.
Or something. It's like, have you ever like come across a song and then like you listen to it, you're just like, fuck it, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
I'm listening to another song from this album. And then you really fucking like that. Once I get the third one that is like, fucking goddamn, this motherfucker is making, I'll just say fuck it and download the whole album.
Right.
And then I'll listen to the full album.
Right. And it's like for me, it's people like Frank Ocean. A lot of people still love to rag on him, but Logic.
Yeah, of course.
There's a couple I can't really think of them right now. But yeah, there's very few really that it's like they have a whole album that I'm like, I can just go through the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's because a lot of artists, they have this mentality. They just write all the time. So they have, like, I mean, Logic, you heard his. It's like they have like hundreds and hundreds of songs apparently just ready to go at some point, and they're just kind of sitting waiting. I feel like some of those songs are just kind of filler. They're not really talking, you know. They just had to make the song. So.
Half-baked ideas. They were just hanging out or something.
But yeah, it's like I don't really do that. I'm like, when I write a song, it's because I felt something. I'm like, all right, I think this could go somewhere.
I feel like an album is a great way to encapsulate like a full, like, I don't know, kind of through the motion of this particular vibe.
Right.
Like, instead of like having one song to like capture this, they make an entire, like they give you the entire journey, which is why like I feel like albums like The Incredible True Story and like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, they have that like you go through a story. Like this is an emotion or like a setting or a place in my life. Kind of walk through it with me. Kind of like how like a writer will like write about a certain period of their life, instead of like writing about like one thing they thought of one day. Yeah. Like they've combined like a fucking whole period's worth of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's how, because they say they label certain albums like concept albums. Like I kind of think of all albums as concept albums. Like I look at it as an album as you're trying to paint a story through music. You know, there might be some visuals with some videos, but for the most part, you're painting a story through music. It could be a chapter in your life, or it could be an idea of something, a place, something whimsical, whatever you want it to be. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I feel like the point is an album of. But sometimes some of these artists, it feels like the album is just a compilation of a bunch of freaking songs they recorded in the past 6 months.
Yeah.
A lot of similar vibes just to each song or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever you create a project, you have to have kind of a rubric to go along with it. I mean,
rubric.
We did that shit as
I haven't heard that fucking word since then.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Holy
rubric.
fucking shit!
I don't think you necessarily got to have a rubric. Yeah, I haven't heard that.
It helps out.
What the fuck is that?
I rarely ever look at the rubric. My mom, she used to always get on to me. It tells you the requirements needed to get the certain category. So if you want to get an A or a B or C.
Basically,
I was thinking like
I never used to look at that hoe. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and however it turns out, my mom would be like, oh, you need to go follow all of these. Did you do
you always
this?
Gotta sign
you didn't
off
do this
on
part.
It. Like, the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I'd be like, I swear to God I did, and then it turned up and like none of the shit would work. It would not. It was so bad.
I don't think you necessarily need a rubric because sometimes an album comes together. Because sometimes an album really does come together when you just happen to make a bunch of songs and you just were painting the same idea, the same emotion, just kind of in a different way, you know. And sometimes it's written from like, never mind, I forgot. But yeah, it can be
I kind of
like
get what you mean though,
but
because over the span of like a couple years, you can write several songs and not have the intention of bringing them together until you make one last one, and you're like, this reminds me of this, reminds me of this, reminds me. Oh, I can put all these together and see how they
And
blend up.
that's like a compilation.
Yeah, kind of.
yeah. Or you could just cheat, and you could just like come up with some kind of title that somehow weirdly connects the songs.
If you are going to do a concept, I would say like how writers think about it. Like when someone like is writing something, they already know what they're gonna like write happened, so they already know like the end. The end is the first thing they're thinking of, and they kind of like work back from there.
Yeah.
And that's how they can make things like deeper and more complex, is by thinking like this is what I know about shit, and I'm gonna like kind of walk you back through how I come to know that shit and back to where I started. That's kind of like, to me, like what a story is like telling you.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, that's what it tells me anyway.
that makes sense.
I haven't read a story in a second.
I haven't read a book since middle school.
Yeah,
Summer
no,
readings.
for real.
I used to love reading books, at least the fictional
But like
ones. Even the
think about your
nonfiction.
shows, like your favorite shows, like your movies, like that shit's written. Like you, but
Yeah.
you kind of see the same kind of deal there, and that's why I feel like Disney, they can't do Star Wars because George Lucas had an end in mind, which was bringing balance to the galaxy or some shit.
Disney's end in mind is money.
Exactly. So
That's
they don't
true.
have like a
That's big
fucking.
facts.
That's why the trilogy they made was so fucking out of whack, because they didn't know where the fuck it wanted to go. They was kind of just like, here's one thing. All right, now let's write another one. It's kind of like think of like Keanu Reeves type movies. They just fucking make it to be open ended, like because
Yeah.
so you
almost
can
like
keep going
they-
with it. You know.
They made each one as a response to the last one, it kind of in a way where like they made one and then each one each one after the last one kind of tried to fix whatever happened in the previous film,
yeah,
whatever it was, and that
the plot
kept on
holes.
going on afterwards because everyone was
And that
like,
became,
oh,
like, what they
woohoo.
were doing,
And so
basically.
after the sequel trilogy, they did The Mandalorian, which tried to fix up, which production kind of like went bad after a while, and
Yeah.
then they did several other shows, and now they're on
The Acolyte, which
Yeah.
is supposed to be, isn't?
they're on some.
If I'm not
like a
mistaken, didn't they
lesbian?
say that it's supposed to be like a prequel or something?
Oh.
That's supposed to be like the very beginning. I could be completely wrong, but I thought
Yeah.
that's what I heard.
The Jedi
I
go up
thought I
against
saw
the
she was the
worst
first
threat
like
they've ever
lesbian Jedi or
faced.
some shit.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
I thought it was. Well, I just thought she was like the first Jedi. and it
The
was supposed to
Jedi
be
go up
going-
against the worst threat they ever faced, which is the woke mind virus.
Why is I'm like, I feel like that gets old in universes, is like every fucking character, like every Avenger, every fucking whatever has had like a world ending fucking situation. Like I feel like that's just so like radical. Like I just feel like it just makes like when they have like combinations just seem like ridiculous. You know, like you can't
Yeah.
have like villains on the way that are like more dangerous than the one like you're going after, you know, by the end. Like it's kind of just fucking like just takes
That
like
would
the
be
gravity out of it, you
interesting.
know.
But it'd be interesting if you did that. But I was gonna say, going back to the like when they drag the movies on, if you notice a lot of productions, the original cast, the original writers and people, they wanted it to end, but because it was so good, you know, of course we have to milk it for money. Like the most recent one I had read about was like SpongeBob. They talk about how SpongeBob was like almost like a culturally acclaimed show for how good it was for kids and adults,
Yeah.
all the way up till season 3. And then after season 3, the original writers and a couple of the cast members, they were like, it should have ended after that movie, but they wanted it to keep going. And they said after season 3, it's like it lost all the soul, the music, the gags, everything about it died. It's because
the style even looked a little bit different.
Yeah, because it's like you said with George Lucas, it's the original writers, the original people. They had a vision for it, and they had a place for it to go, and so every step of the way is articulated. After that ends, now you're just wandering aimlessly because you're just trying to throw the product at you. Oh, this is this product, so it should sell.
I feel like you see that same thing like all across like entertainment industry. It's kind of like when like a new lead singer takes over a band, it's kind of like lost its soul. Or like video games are a very good example. If you think of like Call of Duty, or like whenever these publishers basically started to take over like developers like roles, like to kind of push more of a message, or like accomplish a certain financial aim. I feel like there's lost this individuality, and then you have people like or artists and developers or artists, like you have them kind of like they finish what they want to do, but the publisher still owns the IP, so they're going to have someone else make it, but that same person didn't have the same vision like you said. And that's why you look at like Halo, Gears of War, just absolutely just not, they kind of had that same Star Wars approach. It's like we're just trying to keep this alive, and that's what's killed a lot of the soul of it. And they do a lot of this like callback, kind of like try to look more classic, like the old style, and it's just like, it's nice pandering, but it doesn't really like. There's the soul is still missing there.
Those big showcases that they have, where they display how much they're changing the company, whether it's like a tech showcase or for PS5 or whatever. They all have like the same thing where they're trying to like appease the shareholders, because whenever they announce things on stage, that means their share prices go up, and the shareholders
really
make more money
though,
and they just want to make more money. They churn and burn that shit.
Corporatism,
or
corporatocracy, whatever. But that's all the businesses care about. I feel like that's what's killing everything in the entertainment. It's just the money. They just want to show their shareholders, hey, keep investing.
Exactly. Pump more money into us, and we're gonna just give you a piece of shit
every year.
But I feel like simple is effective, and keep it at like fucking drink it from its own fucking roots. I feel like that's how you keep something alive. Like look at like a very backwards example would be like the Doom franchise, like the classic old games, but the new games are also fantastic because they kept the same formula, basically just made it a lot more beautiful, give it a little bit more juice to it.
That game fell victim to production time, I think, because it was a great game and I played it. I love Doom Eternal.
Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
It was
2016 was
awesome.
Great. Like they did everything that they wanted to with that one, and I fuck with it. But Doom Eternal was rushed, and they had a lot of
in 4 years. You think?
Because I think it was like it was not just the music, but a lot of the ideas that were going into it. It was, it was rushed, guys.
I mean, I think like this is the same.
That's true.
The same things with Halo 2. Like Halo 2 is very rushed. Like there's a lot of really all of the Halo games like had shit that was like that would have been fantastic, but they cut it because of the time they had allotted. So it's like you see like a lot of big features that should have been in this game show up in the game 2 or 3 games from now when they were finally able to really like master what they wanted to install in there.
I was gonna say going back to the entertainment industry with pushing back away from the mic. But you see it also in the music industry. I think as games become bigger and the publishers and the shareholders, or the publishers see that and the shareholders like that, the problem becomes the game starts to lose its soul, shows starts to lose their soul, even like the music, which is why I think a lot of people don't like mainstream music, is because as that particular whatever topic item gets bigger, all the publishers and the shareholders think is, okay, let's strip it. Let's figure out what the core elements are and then strip it of that. And then let's just copy paste the core elements. But by doing that, unfortunately, in the mainstream sense, doing that still somehow sells because sheep are sheep. They're going to listen to what's ever at the top of the charts. So that algorithm is going to sell, but all the soul has been sucked from it because that's what happens when you turn something into an algorithm. It's just using the data is just looking at pure data and numbers. But the problem is art, which is entertainment, music, all that stuff, all of that art is subjective. The whole point of art is that it's human creativity. It's subjective, it's perspective, it's things of that nature.
But whenever you put a formula to it, then it starts messing it up.
Suck all of that out. You suck all of that out.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why it's funny, like a lot of people talk about the AI music and stuff, and there's a lot of people like, oh yeah, it's going to take over. It's like, maybe, but not really. If it's purely generated AI, you're going to be able to tell it's going to be absolutely soulless. It's going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the problem. It's just greed, which turns into soulless crap.
I feel like money has a way of just like whatever vessel the soul is occupying, when money comes along, it kind of just pushes that soul right out of it. Like there's almost like a magnetic, like repelling kind of situation happening there. Those two don't live together. They can't. Like when an artist gets big, like they kind of lose like a lot of their stuff.
That's why I feel like there's some things that I be talking to my cousin about this. Some things I feel like I'm like, there's a lot of things that you just shouldn't try to focus and attach to money. Especially in America, we hyper fixate on trying to turn something into profit.
Yeah.
Try to turn something into product.
Or on trying to make it.
Yeah, and that's what sucks a lot of the soul out of everything. It's like some things when you just focus on, as soon as you start focusing on the money of an object, that object immediately starts to lose the soul, what attracted you to it in the first place. It's like a lot of times it's like,
because that's the beautiful thing.
A lot of times we would talk about like, he would start doing something and then it would be going good, and then he would be like, oh, cool, I could do this and make money off of it. And now he's so focused on trying to make money, he's like stressed, and he's like, I don't even like doing this anymore. You keep doing it to yourself because you keep focusing on the money aspect. Yes, I understand the money is important, but not everything needs to be centered around money. There are some hobbies that you just have to have because it brings you joy. You don't need to try to make money off of that hobby necessarily. It's just some things you don't need to attach money to. Yeah, but I agree. Money just kind of kills everything.
Yeah, no, basically once it starts being only about the money, then you're just focused on trying to like improve certain things versus enjoying what you're actually doing. Yeah. And enjoying what you're doing is what you should be doing most of the time.
Right.
Except if you're working.
It's like that. I think that's where the dichotomy of like the people that do have a lot of money, they're like, oh, money can't buy you happiness. It's because it's like when you're at the bottom, it's like you want to enjoy your times, but you can't enjoy your times because you have money, or you don't have any money, I mean. But when you work so much that you know, it's like they get to a point, or some of them, I guess they just maybe do it differently, but you get to a point where you work so much, you get old and you're like, I have all this money, but everybody that I loved and cherished is dead, and they don't talk to me, and I'm old and I can't move, I can't go anywhere. So it's like they're like, oh, money can't buy you happiness. But I don't know, the problem I think is with that, I don't know how this came up, but I think it's just people are too far left or right. Like people suck at finding balances. People either work way too freaking much or they don't work at all. It's like you need to learn to find a mix. Like I believe that everything falls under too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Too much of anything is a bad thing. And I believe that applies to absolutely everything. Some people would disagree with that when they ask me what I define by everything. That's just how I feel. Overindulgence is pretty bad. Yeah. Whenever you go overboard on certain things, that takes you away from what your main goal is, or your goals in general are. Because you can have a whole bunch of different things that you want to do, but you're indulging in one thing and you're like, oh man, I can't really be doing this right now. You know? Yeah. It really gets you. Yeah. It grabs you. It takes you with it. What are we coming up on? Are we thinking?
I mean,
I woke up in a new Bugatti.
Random.
Yeah. I like what you both said about that.
Yeah. You know.
I feel like allocating your time is that's a difficult challenge for a lot of people. It's like, and that's the same thing as you mean with too much of a of anything is a bad thing, and that is I mean that is fucking absolutely true because I mean I don't know, you can either come to like despise like what you're doing, or you become like resentful of it, or it just gets exhausting
or complacent.
It's just you gotta have balance. You gotta like find a way to keep it fresh. I guess that's kind of like how, you know, they talk about relationships. Like that's, you're supposed to like be refreshing it. You know, it's kind of like crops. You gotta keep watering it. Animals, you gotta keep feeding them.
It's like we're very interesting creatures because like we get very, you know, comfortable in what's comfortable. We really enjoy things that are, you know, common to us, things that we understand, things that we just know have been around for a long time. That's how we like to stay. But at the same time, it's like when we just stay in the same spot for a ridiculously long time, especially when we don't do anything else, that in itself can kind of put us in a rut because now it's like you're not moving.
Did you get to an equilibrium and you aren't able to like really get anything? Yeah. Like if you, osmosis where water goes in between places, you know, like it equals out. It gets to an equilibrium.
I suppose.
Like pressure. Like, what, like, is it like high pressure seeks low pressure?
High pressure, so. Water pressure,
like
low pressure.
Once those even out, you know, it's fine. You know, that's why like submarines explode, you know, when they implode when they get too deep because the pressures just have to cooperate. Or like space.
Yeah, it's
things
crazy.
Blow up. It's the same fucking deal.
You can have a blood in space.
I mean, yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? They open up the fucking airlock. I mean, how does that work in real life? Opening up a fucking airlock. I know you wanted to end it right there, but like, how does that? Like, imagine. Like, does it not like? How does it not blow up the whole thing? Like. How do those doors have to be built like for that shit to not like just blow up the whole thing, or just you just see like a like they show in science fiction, you know? Shit.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's just like it's sucking the air out. Like how much air is in there? Goddamn.
Probably just put a rubber seal on the outside door.
Yeah, wash it probably something like that.
Yeah,
that reminds me of when we went to. I think it was way back in like 4th or 5th grade. We went to this museum on this field trip. And it was at this one place, and it was they had like the old histories, like, you know, the dinosaur fossils, not the really big ones. They were like the legitimate tiny ones, like
what?
Toe.
Like museum?
Yeah, it was like a museum. But then like they had like this NASA spaceship spot, and it was like.
Was this in Georgia?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't. It was like 4th or 5th grade, so I have no idea.
That sounds like DC. Like the Smithsonian and
having a rocket ship,
and then like the
I don't know if it was
Aerospace Museum.
I don't know, maybe I don't know, but
could be Huntsville, Alabama, maybe. I don't know.
So rocket ships.
did I throw you off there? But I kept that on my thought.
No, that was the perfect time to do the pause. I was just gonna not say anything.
We fucked it up again.
He was like, so rocket
So that's
ships.
what you were trying to do.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was like, we just do the pause now, and then this man, so rocket ships.
I thought like you were like, okay, is it time to end it?
No, I was
like that's kind of an abrupt ending. Or whatever,
like,
you know?
I was like, yeah, this would be a perfect time to just have awkward silence.
Yeah.
So we're working on it. We're working on our, what do they call that?
Cues.
Synergy.
That's the fucking word.
I was thinking of like signals, but yeah, that's worse. See, synergy. See.
I feel like the kind of doing our own song would be like that'd be a good idea.
I really do think it'd be,
or like,
especially because we be making the music all the time. Like to some, it's just awesome.
But I wasn't necessarily saying we do like a theme song.
No, that's not either. It should be changing every week.
I feel like that's not a bad idea, and that's a good idea. But I feel like maybe we could do like a live type of situation.
Well, yeah, I was talking about that too.
We make music and then we do a thing.
Now, the one tricky thing about the live thing is we would need more bells and whistles to be able to plug it up so that they could hear what we're playing. And he starts actually playing a bell and whistling. Okay.
We could try and do like a acapella thing right now.
All right. Okay.
That's too much for Jordan.
Way too much right now.
He's like,
That's way
It's
too
like
much.
to make it good, we're gonna have to do all kinds of
Yeah,
editing.
we're gonna have to figure out what key we're in. We're gonna have to figure out what harm we don't. Yeah, we're not prepared for that. See, I never would have thought to do that ever. I never would have went for that. We would have just started harmonizing.
It's okay. Your fucking silence didn't work. Okay, damn, it didn't even last 20 fucking, maybe not even 10 seconds. So we were that was a pretty good one though. Pretty
That
good
was a
pause
pretty
we
good
did.
one. But you
It just-
laughed too hard.
I know that once the comes on.
This is why
so-
we need dynamic mics.
It's good.
What kind of
Actually, I had
dynamic
a
we're working
second one.
with?
Actually, should have plugged that in. You said what?
What kind of dynamics we talking about?
Well, I mean,
Boston
I
Dynamics?
had my Shure 58. Oh, you fool.
The robot people. You know they make the
I know
robots.
the audio. But
I know.
I know. But
You know I know that you know
had
that I
the
know.
Shure. I had my 58. I don't know why I didn't bring that up.
Holy shit! You gonna shoot me?
Why?
You got a 58 caliber,
Whoa.
fucking size gun going on here.
I mean,
That's crazy.
Potentially.
Caliber.
Caliber. Oh shoot, Caliber. You remember Tony Hawk?
No,
Tony Hawk. Remember what was that one game?
I remember Tony Hawk. Yeah,
Pro Skater
I never
2.
met him in person.
Pro
though.
Skater 2. What does that have to do with Tony Hawk? That's not Tony Hawk's game.
Didn't you have like an Underground
I
2?
thought he had a Tony Hawk game. I thought it was a game called Tony Hawk.
Life of Tony Hawk?
You guys can remember him. I'm like, yeah, I remember Tony Hawk. Everybody remembers Tony Hawk for some reason.
Because he was a legendary skater.
Yeah, he's
But what-
everywhere.
Well, why did he appeal so much to our generation?
I really don't know. I didn't.
He did
our
the first
generation was that
720.
big of skaters.
Or
Oh,
980 or something. He did the first
Unfortunately,
1040.
I'm not caught up on Tony Hawk. I wonder how many people have met Tony Hawk and been like, "Oh shoot, it's Tony Hawk! Like, bro, you're a legend," and they've never seen him do a single trick ever.
Yeah.
They've never watched him once. It's just a simple fact that he's Tony Hawk.
Maybe his thing is that
he.
he mainstreamed like skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily that he was the greatest. I
We
mean,
skateboarded on Nickelodeon whenever we were kids. Probably.
yeah. He
At
brought,
some point.
He brought it to the mainstream. Like it's you can just be a regular person. It's fuck, you don't got to be whatever kind of kids were initially into it.
He
They kind
really-
of opened the audience to
He's
that.
really
that
more of
world.
like a media entertainer than he is like a skater. He started out as a skater, but nowadays he's
Yeah,
just
now
like
he's-
a,
He's
he's
Tony
a
Hawk.
personality.
It's like,
yeah,
oh
he's
shoot,
Tony
it's
Hawk.
Tony. Exactly.
The skater.
Like
It's like The Rock.
Hasselhoff.
It's like The
Yeah.
Rock.
The Rock.
almost. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's The Rock. It's Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
go the
Arnold-
Rock, the wrestler.
Arnold.
He's just the Rock, dude. He does everything.
Yeah, basically.
Tony Hawk does
Arnold-
everything.
What Arnold?
Arnold, he was like that back in the day.
Oh yeah, he was.
Arnold.
I mean, he's still like that a little bit.
Arnold.
Arnold.
Arnold. Arnold. Can you imagine talking like that? Fucking Austrians. And he was the governor of our wackiest state. Fucking go figure.
Yeah, sure.
Does it get any wackier than California? Like that's gonna be the wackiest place on earth
I was gonna say.
in terms of just silliness. Like
I was gonna say. How,
fuck is
how,
that place?
how do you end the podcast? Are you gonna have an outro, or are you just gonna cut it off randomly while we're like in the middle of talking?
Just cuts the
'Cause I was
like
thinking
right
a lot
after
of-
this. Just
I was like-
cuts off right after you start.
It's like a lot of Clay's when he starts
Nah.
when he stops talking. I was like, it'd be hilarious if it just ended right there.
Yeah.
Just the Arnold noises, and then the podcast just cuts off.
Usually we come to like a moment where we feel like we should end just because we've been running for like so long. That's why like
Yeah, I feel like that's
whenever it
now.
gets like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's now.
I feel
So,
like when like pauses
whenever-
start to happen more, that's when it just kind of feels like, hey, we're running out of ideas. It's kind of like
Yeah. We've been doing about like 43 minutes, so we could cut it because we could cut it pretty early because podcasts are a bunch of different lengths. I feel like having a consistent length for a podcast is kind of nice, where you
But I
know
feel
what
like
to
that's
expect between
random.
like an hour or two or something.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be. I don't. Yeah. But at some point, whenever we start like doing like a regular schedule, kind of.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good to do at some point as a regular schedule and having it come out at a certain time. It's been a while since we had the last one, but doing a regular schedule
Sure.
on a regular schedule every once in a while would probably be a good idea.
That's it.
I got him.
By
Just destroy the microphone.
what kind of laughter was that, Jordan? Like, what are you doing over here?
That was crazy.
What,
Who laughs like that? What's wrong?
Oh
with
yeah, because that totally sounded like me. Yep, yep. With the echo and all on my dynamic.
Yeah. Nobody knows that.
I saw it happen.
But they probably can hear it a little bit.
He chuckled.
Hey, you know who chuckled?
Chuck Norris.
Chuck. Oh.
Oh. He stares at the microphone intensely. What did you say to me?
Oh, he's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, it looks like you about to like rap, just intensely.
Get him, little Mac.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
How about a Hitler type beat?
I was gonna say as soon as you drop that song.
Oh wait, never mind. Fucking the damn rap battles people already did that, huh?
Oh yeah, they did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, going back to
I am Adolf Hitler.
it's like
how they
that's going,
start
going back to being unique. I feel like nowadays people are unique in like the most negative ways now. It's not even about being. It's just what
brand of
something-
toxicity
what's-
do you have?
What random stupid thing can I do that'll get everybody's attention?
What bad trait plagues you?
What disorder do I have that I can separate myself with? What gender am I? Like, what? I'm just gonna make something up for fucking either one of those. I have autistic, fucking transracial, leave, gender, species, xeno. Fucking
Well, I was thinking
ism.
more along the lines.
Okay,
of,
you're
I saw
special.
some dude the other day in his underwear who had a big old like cauldron of chocolate, and then you went to his live, and he dipped his face in it, and he was just jiggling and screaming and yelling around. That's what I was thinking.
Who's the
Cauldron
the
of chocolate.
What's the
That sounds good.
The mukbang people,
weird.
like
Yeah.
that is such a people that just eat themselves to death. Mukbang. Remember that one?
Oh,
who's the
Especially
gay
the
guy?
ASMR
Yeah.
ones.
He's like, I don't speak Spanish.
The
know that guy?
avocado guy?
Yeah, is it Nick Avocado?
I think so.
That I wouldn't spit in your eye, but Nick Avocado, like he went from
no.
being like, okay, good. He went from being like a violin playing, like fucking in shape guy, whatever, doing like
super-
content. As far as I know, I never watched the fucking guy, and then suddenly he's like fucking obese and he's like, eating himself, and like he's just doing stupid shit for entertainment. And it's like,
Yeah.
now you're like
And he knows that he's doing
fat
it.
as fuck
Apparently,
He knows.
he's been trying to lose.
He's
weight.
doing it as a performance thing.
I don't know.
for money. That's where that money takes over, and you
Yep.
lose your soul.
Now you just do whatever to keep getting that money.
And that's what they mean by selling your soul to the devil.
Yep,
Once you
sold
get
your
up on
soul.
high. Now maybe they do fucking, do some vampire child sacrifice type of shit, but they do some kind of fucking soul
Voodoo.
selling.
Yeah.
The gabagoo.
They gotta be able to blackmail you in case you don't do what they say.
All right, yeah, that too. Are you gonna tell me when you make it to the top, Jordan and Carter, what the fuck, what's going on up there?
Yeah.
Because I assume you're gonna get there before me. I'm probably gonna spring up on my like.
We're gonna be
90s.
having a podcast at Bohemian Grove. We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna podcast there, dude. We're gonna be talking to the owl statue that they make.
Yeah, we'll probably make that plan for that. We somehow.
We'll be like the guy that goes to Epstein
in gang
Island.
violence. Oh, they were gang. No.
The gabagoo.
That'd be fun.
To be murdered in gang violence, or
Yeah.
to be murdered and then have it blamed on.
Just
gang
go to
violence?
Brazil. Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
Brazil.
that's what that place is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Murder. So I hear from media, of course, Brazilians are not all violent. Just most of them. So anyway, what were you thinking about, like,
Just
in terms of like?
most of them.
So you don't have a sweet tooth, huh, Barter?
Nah,
How,
not much.
How are you a human
Nice
being?
transition.
You don't like. How does that? How do you not have a sweet tooth?
Hey, fuck you, dude. What the hell are you coming on me for?
How do you not have that? Like, that
Yeah,
is.
I mean that's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had one whenever I was growing up, but then I just grew up. I just
Oh,
grew
so
up
you think it
afterwards.
relates to being a child?
After
Yeah.
Halloween, you were like, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
never really cared.
If I get a bag of Halloween candy now, I'd probably go through it over like several months.
Let me ask you something. When you were a kid
I don't really eat candy.
and you were at the gas station or the checkout aisle with your parents,
Uh-huh.
you remember like asking, "Hey, can I get that?"
I tried to steal one time. And
Oh, my God.
it was only one time, and then
But did they ever get
They
it for
said,
you?
"Why is that? Why do you got that?" And I was like, I wanted this." They were like, "You're trying to steal it?" I was like, "No. They said, "Put it back." I was like, "Okay, no problem." And so I didn't try and do that again, but I think I could probably at this point get away with it if I really tried. You know, it wouldn't be too bad.
You'd have to do
And
it.
I'm willing.
You'd have to do it kind of like innocently. Is someone on Discord right now? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, actually.
Are we live? We're going live to the world.
Brought to you by something.
Discord. Oh,
Something.
What was that?
international racism.
What about candy?
I was saying I never really care. I mean, I like candy, but
Really?
I don't really eat like hard candy stuff like that much, to be honest.
Remember fucking Shockers before Michelle Obama stole it out of our schools?
The very sour, delicious, roof-destroying candy.
All I know is
I love
remember
those.
The
They're
vending
good.
machines had great stuff in it right until we got to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michelle took all that crap out of it.
Yeah.
I would get Shockers in middle school. Like this shit was fucking delicious. God damn it! I've never seen them since then. Pisses me off.
They got replaced with what, the trail mix in a the tiny tube of trail mix that they would give you, or a
Only thing
like
worth the
straight
fuck was
peanuts.
the goddamn fucking Buffalo Bites. Everything
Yeah,
else was
stuff
like,
that.
why would I even?
It's funny how
Baked Lay's
it's funny how
chips.
schools they had vending machines, but how many classes would be like you can't eat in here? What's the point of having a vending machine?
I feel like the vending machines are really like for like the teachers.
That's
Really, what they should be since it's their workplace.
So we didn't
you
pay
know?
you much, but now give us back the money
Yeah.
so that you can get some snacks.
Hell, fucking a lot of fucking businesses are like that. You know?
I feel like that should be a part of the school to already have snacks and stuff for the teachers since they're teaching all freaking day.
A lot of the teachers would eat the fucking school food. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
crazy to
yeah.
think about too. Being like, dude, you're still
Eating the same thing that a child is eating every day. That's
Still
same
eating it.
portion.
Yeah.
everything. That's like fucking goddamn.
I mean, to be fair, technically, I think, honestly, I don't know. I think children need more nutrients than adults, though, because they're still growing.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
but at the same time, I mean, we do like to overindulge in food. You put some reverb on that. Echo from the ladies.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think I could really do the reverb there.
I mean, yeah, you probably could.
Yeah, could I just make it?
You? What are you gonna make the reverb? Literally? You're just gonna make
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
How you gonna do that?
Yum, 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 yum.
I like it. I like this guy.
If you're autistic enough, you can always find a way, right?
I suppose so. I mean,
You think like autism, like, you know, these days, like everyone's kind of like labeling themselves as autism,
Yeah.
because like the meme and like the popularity of the word, and like, you think that like inferred like meaning of the word by like, or the projected meaning of the word by much of our generation, like actually holds any bearing over what would we like what was already considered like autism? Are they just considering, you know, anybody with a personality as autistic, or is it kind of just like, is it a rebellious like thing to use that word?
There's two different views of autism, I guess. The ones that we had whenever we were young, and then the ones that we have now, basically.
Yeah.
And whenever we thought about autism, whenever we were kids, it was like completely different to what we think of autism now.
Yeah.
Because I would think that autistic people were just all the same, pretty much, in a certain way. Like you can say that people are autistic, and it would just be like one thing. But now, it's apparently on a spectrum. They got all different kinds of it. So, with that being said, I'm autistic as fuck. I gotta be.
If it's a spectrum, might as well fucking. I guess that applies to everybody, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
But that is interesting.
Everybody would be on the spectrum. Yeah.
As time goes on, with like things like autism or other disorders or things of that nature, how many of these disorders or whatever have a spectrum that expands over time?
ADHD maybe, because like when
With
they diagnose you,
discovery
don't they like
everything.
they check for like symptoms, but if you don't have enough, if you don't like hit like the right amount, then you're not considered ADHD.
Right.
You know, but if you have like this many, then you have this much ADHD. So technically, it's, I guess you could put that on a spectrum depending on how many symptoms. You know, you have some similar symptoms or traits as someone with ADHD, but you're not.
Yeah.
Like, to the extent that they are. So,
But
then
that's just
you
a
have you have
declaration by a doctor.
yeah, well, a diagnosis is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really,
But-
I feel like it's just a combination of personality traits.
You can have exactly different personality traits, but say like a doctor's diagnosis on whether or not you have a fever would be different because they can take your blood and say, hey, I've got this kind of virus inside of me right now. We see that you have this virus, and so this is your diagnosis. Versus they can say, oh well, you're jittering every time that you hear someone talk about you or some shit like that, or that you like shake your legs whenever you see food.
So you think like having an overall term for like having like those particular things is just kind of like the idea of that is absurd.
Yeah, having like calling
it's
it
not
all
an actual
autism
thing.
is fine. I think calling it all autism's fine.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
sure.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, autism, bro.
I mean, it really does
Yeah.
depend. Like, I guess, is it because, like, for example, look at like Down syndrome. Down syndrome, at least, is something that's at least it's to the point to where it's like recognizable,
Yeah,
almost
you
like
can-
instantly.
you can
like
see it in a
everyone,
person.
yeah, everyone has similar traits. But it's like with autism, there's not necessarily physical attributes to
Because
look
it's
for.
psychological. That's what they're
Right.
basing it on. So like it's not medical, it's psychological.
And so then the idea is that, like Carter was saying, back then autism, it was those people who just like they couldn't talk, this and that, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But now
Without
it's like,
learning disability.
yeah, but now it's like people can be on a spectrum. Someone might seem to be somewhat normal, but they do this, and this. But I think for me, sometimes it's like I'm just more wondering. I would just like to know, like, is how I operate on a day-to-day basis, is how I think in this way, how I do these things. Is that normal or is that different? Because it appears that some of the things that I do compared to like my family and other people around me is completely like obtuse. It's not normal. It's
But like, what do you gain by thinking about if that's unique to you or not? Like, what do you get from trying to analyze that and trying to figure that out? Like, am I different from other people? Like, do I do things differently? Because of course you do. Like, why not just fall into that and forget that that's even a factor? You're just
Well, for
different
me,
people.
sometimes it's like if it's a particular issue that I've seen come up a lot, I just want to know, is it something specific? That's all I want to know. I just want to know. I just want to know if it's something specific, because I'd rather know if there's some sort of problem or issue that I think that there might be or I might have. Instead of sitting around wondering what that problem is and how I could solve it, it would be a lot easier if I could just know what that problem is and then I could solve it, rather than having to guess all the time.
I feel like that is like saying, like, you're putting a label on it. And what happens then? Are you saying like, oh, well, I'm just naturally like predisposed to like not be able to do this, the same way as other people, or do I just do this thing differently because of how I've developed my thinking, since I was a young
more
one?
B. Like it's nicer to know if you have an issue, because there's like, for
An
example,
issue by what standards? Like that it it doesn't
an issue that
fit
it's
well
like
with most of society.
yeah, it well not necessarily. Well, yeah, I mean like according to certain societal standards, potentially like you don't meet up to those. But for example, if someone is born with a disability that hinders their right hand, and they were initially supposed to be right-handed, but they have a condition, they can see that because they know that okay, I have to learn to write with my left hand because of this. If there's a particular like disability or something that you have that you don't know of, once you know what that disability is, at least to me, then to me I better understand that it's like, okay, so I have this, so I'm just gonna have to do this particular thing harder. It is what it is at the end of the day, but it's just better for me to know because now I know what is that particular element that I might need to put more focus on. Like I look at it from like a football analyst, like when you play a game and you have a good game, but then my parents, they would start critiquing me on the things I get mad about. And it's like, I'm getting defensive, but it's like, no, I'm just pointing out to you the things that you are doing so that you can correct it. So I look at the disabilities like that too. Like if I can have them pointed out to me, then I can better situate myself to correct them.
Interesting. So you're kind of like seeing the disability as more of an obstacle than like something that like actually disables you.
Yeah.
You know, it's something to like conquer.
Yeah, so I can figure out what's the most efficient and best way for me to work around this, It's not that I can't do something in particular because of that disability. It just means it might take me a little bit longer. It might take a different approach. It is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're not saying I can't do something. You're just saying I haven't done something.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do it. It's not that I can't do it. I just haven't done it yet.
My God. You don't have a sweet tooth right now. Like you don't just.
I do.
You don't
yeah.
think about ice cream and you're just like, fuck.
I'm like,
ice
ooh,
cream
cake
right now.
or some cheesecake.
You never just like have a
cookies or
fucking
some
urge
brownies.
like that.
Yeah, I can go for some mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's my favorite.
There
ice cream.
we-
Extremely
it
specific,
is.
but okay,
There
I
it
like
is.
that. Yeah.
But we don't got that. I don't got
Yeah,
that.
then it's 11. Everything is probably closed.
It's 11:01, motherfucker.
Well, I'm in Waffle House, so
Yeah, we got
AM.
Waffle House right now. That's about it.
11:01 a.m. Waffle House is still open, huh? Very
Yep.
good.
yep, 11:01 a.m.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So,
We trying to make it awkward.
Should
Talk
we,
about some. So,
should we should we hop on a beat as the outro?
yeah.
I mean, how are we gonna
We
rig that up
should.
though? Then I
We would
feel
actually have to
hear it.
like
Yeah.
do like cut and then we cut to the beat that we just made.
because we don't have it set up to play right
We
now.
don't
Yeah.
have it
We'll
set
hear
up.
it.
So do you guys want to do that? We just do the cut like that type thing.
Don't cut me off.
Or you could fade it maybe
Fade it out.
instead of like a hard cut.
You
Instead
can
of talking and then it's just. You could do like a little
Just a
fade
little-
in.
Yeah.
Honestly,
All right.
one thing that I was thinking about is like, what if when we get the levels better situated, so we
Yes.
don't have these problems.
Oh, yeah.
What if we do more of a, that's the other thing too. It's better to actually record a lot quieter, so they just raise it up in the end. than
Exactly.
record too hot.
Record a lot quieter, you say.
Yes, but what if we have like the faintest, quietest background music?
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, if we made our own music, like, why not?
Play it in
if
the
you
background.
guys made some fucking music, but I mean, if we just had it in the background, because it's not like it's
Yeah.
copyrighted.
No,
You know, you can't.
you're not.
Like, what the hell? We just got our own. Like, we established a vibe. We put on a loop, and maybe it's like a longer
Exactly.
loop
And
instead
it's
of like
just-
repeating every minute. We have like a loop set to repeat every 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So you have kind of like things that are like
Yeah.
to look forward to, but you don't get tired of.
And it's got some little, and yeah, so like you said with the clinking, the people talking, it has more ambiance. It makes it feel
Yeah.
more lively when you're sitting listening, instead of just hearing the subtle static in the background. You hear, the beat.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're part of an atmosphere, and that's
Yeah.
what gives like this. That's what would give it life,
Yep.
and not just like fucking studio recording, combination sound. a gabagoo of
Gabagoo.
a gabagoo. You know,
Gabagoo.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
do you
little
know what I'm
extra.
saying? You know
I
what
do
I'm saying?
know exactly what you're saying.
Really, literally, and they just fucking got attacked and just slashed and grashed by the fucking microphone fucking
Yes.
and the filter there. Is that the filter, like the metal filter?
Yeah.
What is up with? I gotta ask, what the fuck? Why is that one like sharp metal? Like just be? Why is it just
So,
like that? Like I almost
yeah.
fucking jabbed my eye one day with that thing.
Oh my bad. Yeah. But so yeah, the metal filter, it just
That's really
the
my
way
bad.
that it disperses the wind is just a lot more pleasant, subtle. It does a lot better at catching the more heavy plosives.
Like this doesn't really filter, like wind at all.
Yeah.
Have a yawn, everybody.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that'll filter like that's a windscreen, so that'll help with like some wind, but like heavy plosives like the P's, the bass and the P's and the B's, yeah, it's not gonna catch any of that. Like this will do a better job of catching stuff like that.
do a
Well, I got it super close. If I want to, I could absolutely
do it.
destroy You want me to friggin' beatbox into the microphone right now? Why are we?
I want to hear an
testing
example, like of how different it is.
Oh, this is a dynamic microphone, to be fair. They're actually pretty good with. To be fair. Which is why those are so popular for podcasts. Is this the section of the podcast we're in now, just talking about the general layout of the podcast?
What?
Right,
That's
right,
how we
right.
started, is it not?
I mean, it is. So
That's
good.
exactly how we
saying,
fucking
It's
started.
just funny. Like, it's a good, yeah, but it's just funny. The people are here for the start.
This
As
feels
we
like a
work
lost
through it.
episode type of vibe, you know?
It really does. Honestly, yeah.
Ooh, I'm pretty sleepy. Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Nice.
I got hit with the sleepy
School bus.
time.
Oh,
Dang. Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get sleepy eventually.
good old yawn, my god. Do you feel like you get enough air in your lungs, like every day?
Sometimes, no. Sometimes I be feeling like, why
Like I
do I
forget to
feel
breathe.
That's how I get calories.
I feel like, why does it feel slightly more difficult to breathe today? I think I'm out of shape.
Something in the air, maybe like air quality.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
got a couple
rooms
of air
being
quality
inside all
events
the time.
recently. Yeah, you gotta get outside.
Airflow. You
Bro,
know,
that
missing
heat
airflow.
recently has been so dry.
Oh my god, it came on out of fucking nowhere
Yeah.
too. Like summer fucking hit us like suddenly, like
It's
hard,
yeah, it's hot.
hard and fast and hard,
Funk.
and in and out. Yeah, some
Delve.
of that too gross.
I feel like it's only gonna get hotter. That's all it could do.
I mean, it's fucking.
Well,
I mean,
the
it
summer
was June.
solstice is past.
We just started fucking July.
Oh, that's a good point.
We still have to get through fucking August.
Yep.
That's when it's a
Oh,
fucking
yeah, I forget
bitch.
August is a part of this. Yeah.
My god,
At least we're not in Arizona.
at least we're not Mexicans. You're right.
That's true.
Yeah, nothing to do with it. It's just hot in Arizona. but Okay.
Nothing to do with it, he says. But anyway, so, anyway, you know, ever notice how like that's like an easy way to cheat to a transition? Just anyway, and you just fucking say
Yeah.
some random shit, and then it could even be just talking about how you did that.
Well, anyway, we could do the outro now.
Yeah.
Which is
Fuck.
Let's go ahead and put a band on this. It's yeah, the fade in. The fade into maybe probably just the beat that we did earlier or something. I think that's best.
I'll have to put the bass line to it in the morning, so I have more of a closer to a better product to finish with.
Yeah, with all the files over, you'll be able to work on it however you want to. So this has been 2 Drinks In.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.
gonna be the slowest fade in ever. Of
Yeah,
the
no,
beat
the whole
because
time
there's
I
so
was
much
hearing
freaking space. I was like, bro, keep talking. The beat's gonna have to slowly fade in. All right, guys, so that's the end.